Welcome to the most authoritative hour on TV. It's The Pulse. We're live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. We are your home of impactful, fearless, credible and independent journalism. Coming up this afternoon, an intervention by the Ghana Boundary Commission has ended the land boundary dispute with neighboring Togo. We have details of the meeting held between the national coordinator and the president of the Togo Boundary Commission on the demarcations. Also this afternoon, three-member committee tasked to investigate the Ejura disturbances has today wrapped up its work after 12 days of public sitting. We're live in Ejura for the day 12 of that and snippets of what to expect in the committee's report.
Of evidence. Arrestors give evidence, a lot of evidence.
In Germany, 80 people dead following a catastrophic and unprecedented flooding that swept through Western Europe. We'll be crossing live to Berlin for a situational report from our DW partners. The Pulse is brought to you by global communities like Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. My name is Ike Ibrahim. Remember, we're live on YouTube and also on all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag #ThePulse. My personal handle, the Nana Aisha. Always a pleasure to host you. Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Fenyomakin, says efforts are ongoing to settle the issue of Kennedy Japon's alleged contempt case outside the long processes at the Privileges Committee. Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, on Tuesday referred Mr. Japan to the committee for calling for the beating of Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko. Speaking on the floor, Mr. Fenyomakin said the majority side has engaged Mr. Japan and he is cooperating. But NDC MP for North Tongue, Mr. Okujetu Ablakwa, says the move is out of place. He says the minority side rejects any such plan to settle the issue outside the remits of the committee.
We need to emphasize that the committee did not receive the referral from Right Honourable Speaker in respect of Mr. Suini's motion. So that is why there is no such thing on the business statement. But I need to emphasize here, Mr. Speaker, that our colleague has been engaged extensively, Honourable Kennedy Japan, on this matter. And I have received very positive responses from him. And I have no doubt on my mind that perhaps, not perhaps, I have no doubt on my mind that steps will be taken to deal with the matter appropriately so that there wouldn't be the need to even go into that long haul of, So, Mr. Speaker, I just needed to assure the House of these steps that have been taken by the leadership of the majority. We want to work together, and the media is not an enemy. We are not enemies to ourselves. Sometimes we slip. What is important is for us to take steps to remedy or resolve when these things happen. We are all human. So, Mr. Speaker.
The final issue, Mr. Speaker, relates to a rather strange, I don't know if it's an announcement or if it is a notice, and I don't know under what standing orders the Deputy Majority Leader was coming under. The Right Honourable Speaker has referred the petition from Honourable Alhaji Suhuyini Alhassan to the Privileges Committee. And that is the resolution of this House. We have been told today, that is the status, the decision of the Speaker, the ruling of the Speaker. Then the Deputy Majority Leader, who we know is a long-time counsel and lawyer of the Honourable Kennedy Japan, is telling us today that, let's prepare for some out of court settlement of a sort, you know, or out of committee, out of privileges committee settlement. I mean, under what standing orders is the deputy majority leader giving us this announcement or serving this notice to the House? I mean, please, if you want to plead for your client, come properly and go and do that at the committee. But don't say that, oh, we would not have to go through that long. Who has complained about the process? We are ready to go through the length of that duration. And let's be careful we don't create the impression that some MPs, when the Speaker has referred, they are above that referral. He must go there and ensure that the decision of this House and the decision of Mr. Speaker is respected. So please, as for that, your notice, we reject it. We don't know how it is grounded. I think that it's important that we make that point very clear. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the issue of Honorable Suhini's application, which application was granted, I only referred to it that it has not been programmed. There hasn't been a meeting scheduled for next week for the Privileges Committee because the referral did not get to Business Committee. I just wanted to allay the fears of members who are anxious to see the Privileges Committee working. And I only added that notwithstanding, as a House, if a matter of this nature has arisen, I am in leadership and I should engage my colleague. I made that statement in good faith. But I find it strange that every step taken in good faith would be misconstrued, particularly by Honorable Ablakwa. Mr. Speaker, he was in this House when Sami Jemfi attacked the Speaker of Parliament and attacked his leadership. He did not respond to it, neither did he even get up to protect the image of Mr. Speaker and Harun Edrusu and Muntaka Mubarak. Is this a principle? This is very rich. Sit down. It's very rich. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that he should appreciate the angle I came from. I did so in good faith that, yes, something has happened. Honorable Kennedy Japan, who is a member of this side, has been engaged, and I wanted to assure this House, because the member said it affects the integrity of us, and I was assuring the House that we are taking positive steps, and perhaps we may even resolve ahead of time. Lawyers are here, they know out of court settlement. Sometimes you resolve before the scheduled date of the matter, and the court will accept it. Mr. Speaker, I'm invoking the inherent jurisdiction of Mr. Speaker, which is also part of our rules. He's invoking his inherent jurisdiction as part of the rules. Look at Order 6 and 8. Read down there. It's there. Read it. Where the matter is not provided, Mr. Speaker will direct. He has so admitted.
Afenyo Markins is Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament. Our man, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, who's been monitoring events in Parliament, is on the line. Gakpo, how did the majority arrive at this decision to settle the matter outside the Privileges Committee?
We've been trying to get a sense and trying to understand what exactly is happening. And these are the details that we're gathering, that there's actually been an engagement at the level of the leadership at the majority side with Mr. Japan. As you heard Mr. Afenyo Markin make the point, to a certain extent he's cooperating with the conversation. I'm reliably informed that on the side of the majority there is a conversation ongoing to get him to probably use the same platform that he attacked Mr. Erastus Sasaredonko on, to apologize and offer some form of explanation and kind of withdraw the said attack in question, which for the majority MPs who are trying to get him to do this, they foresee it as a form of remediation, so that then at the level of the Privileges Committee eventually, that could then be put out as something that has been done even before the House committee sits on the matter. So that's why we're gathering, that conversation is ongoing with Mr. Japong to get him to offer an apology of a sort over that said attack on Mr. Erastus Asaredonko. But as we know, Mr. Japong is currently not around. He left for WA as chairman of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee as part of investigations into the military brutality that was meted out to residents in that particular enclave. And 2 days ago as well, on Wednesday, when the referral was done, Mr. Japong was again not in Parliament himself. And so most likely from next week, as all those who are out of town, as well as the main leadership of the House return to Accra, the expectation is that that conversation would continue. And as we've heard, try to get him to apologize, which is probably what Mr. Apenyomakin was referring to when he said the conversation is ongoing, to probably get the case resolved even before the Privileges Committee holds its first sitting on the contempt case that's been brought against him.
Gakpo, clarify this for me, just for the sake of the viewers. Does this engagement by the party or by the majority in Parliament exonerate Mr. Japong from facing the Privileges Committee?
Far from that. It doesn't exonerate him in any way from the processes that will unfold eventually before the Privileges Committee. The Privileges Committee's mandate is to hear the necessary evidence over the allegation of contempt that's been brought against him, go through various processes with witnesses who may deliver either oral or written testimonies to the committee, and then come to a conclusion. The standing orders of the House make a number of provisions in terms of what the possible sanctions could be. It could range from a simple reprimand, where he will be told to go and desist from any such action. It could be a suspension. It could even be a case of expulsion, and all of those remedies lie within the mandate of the Parliament of Ghana, not the mandate of the committee itself. The committee can only recommend for the House to then take a decision. And the committee can also come to a conclusion that he's not guilty of any instance having to do with breach of privileges. So all of those options are available in terms of the possible conclusion that the committee would reach. But any processes in terms of resolving this wouldn't hinder how the committee may want to go about its work eventually.
So why is the minority against this kind of move?
The minority MPs, including Mr. Kujetua Blakwa, are of the opinion that this is something that was brought up on the floor. The Speaker has duly referred the issue to the committee, especially in the absence of the Speaker today, because then we know that today's sitting was actually presided over by Mr. Andra Makwesiama, who is the second Deputy Speaker. The minority's point is that, especially in the absence of the Speaker himself, after the House had taken a decision, Mr. Al-Hassan Suhini had raised the issue on the floor, and the Speaker has referred it to the committee. For the MPs on the minority side, at the level of the plenary, there is no further action that they can take until the committee completes its work and returns with a report. Virtually going backdoor to try and mitigate what had been done and try to pull brakes on the committee's process for some of the minority MPs would amount to disrespecting the directive of the Speaker and the ruling the Speaker gave that the Privileges Committee should look into this, which is how come Mr. Blakwa makes the point that if Mr. Apenyomakin or anyone on the majority side has any issue in terms of any possible plea, they should go to the Privileges Committee and deal with that particular matter at that level.
So what other businesses have they been conducting, the MPs?
The House has been going through the issues that they will delve into going into next week. Next week, Wednesday, we're expecting that the Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, will appear in Parliament to respond to questions having to do with the cost of the President's trip in May to Belgium, France, and South Africa, which the minority has claimed actually did cost the taxpayer something in the region of 2.8 million Ghana cedis in terms of chartering a luxurious jet, as the minority claims, for the President to undertake that trip when the President knew that the presidential jet was in good condition. It's been more than a month since a question was filed in Parliament demanding that the Finance Minister comes to respond to questions on this. He asked for more time. Now we're getting the clarity that he's ready to respond to the question, and that would happen on Wednesday next week. Apart from that, there's a separate question that's gone to him asking for details on how much it cost the presidency when it comes to chartering flights between 2013 and 2016. That question has also been admitted. The finance minister will respond to that as well next week, Wednesday. So the disclosure on that particular business came, and we're looking forward to that happening next week. But one other final issue that the House has been discussing has been the concerns having to do with shortage of fertilizer across the country. There have been concerns that because of alleged non-payments to the suppliers of the fertilizers, they've not supplied fertilizers to farmers even as the planting season begins this year. A number of MPs, including the First Deputy Minority Whip, Ibrahim Ahmed, and Mahama Yarga, who is the MP for Boku Central, demanded that the Minister for Agriculture be summoned to the House to come offer an explanation on how come the fertilizers are not getting to ordinary farmers. And a lot of MPs additionally raised concerns about what they think is a looming situation of food crisis that may result unless some of these concerns with fertilizer supply are not dealt with. And the indication is that leadership is looking at this request on what should be done so that then the House can discuss this particular matter going into next week.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our man in Parliament. Definitely there are more updates in our subsequent bulletins from Parliament. Now from Parliament to the Western region, where the Jasehene of the Pinto Divisional Council, Dr. Nana Adakwa Bediako II, has denied being kidnapped, as widely reported on Thursday. On Friday, the Western Regional Police PRO, DSP Olivier Rabna Adiku, told the media the chief told them he went into hiding but was not kidnapped. According to him, the chief denied the kidnapping allegation when he reported to the Takwa Police Command to give a vivid account of his disappearance from Wednesday to Thursday evening.
We are gathering right now with that Nana Adakwa Bediako III has come to the police station, and when he was interviewed, he said he was never kidnapped. And honestly, he doesn't know who sent out the message that he has been kidnapped. But what happened was that yesterday, on the 3rd, 15th, he went to bank to cash some money because he needed to buy some instruments for, I think, the Pentecost church within Tapa area. So from the bank, there's an instrument shop just around that area. So he decided to take a walk there and make some enquiries. So whilst he was going, there was this gentleman that he doesn't know. The gentleman just bumped into him and told him that, Nana, some people are planning to kill you. So immediately he took the next available taxi. He got there. And it was just unfortunate that he couldn't communicate with him because he had left his phones in his vehicle. So that is what happened. But he didn't disclose exactly where he went, but he said he was never kidnapped. This is what happened. He went and
So would police prefer any charges against him?
He has just given this statement. So I think we still have to investigate it. So I can't just give an answer now, but at the appropriate time we'll be able to come out with whatever the investigation will lead to. But this is what he is saying.
A woman in Athalia, Kwanzaa, who's been monitoring this for us in the Western region, joins us now by phone. In Athalia, what has been the reaction in town since his return?
Well, Aisha, they have been so happy. Yesterday when he returned, you could see from some pictures that we got that a lot of the residents there also besieged his paramountcy and then the police station to welcome him. So for now, everything is calm, everyone is okay, and the community, or Tapa Yusayim, everyone there is happy of the return of the chief.
How about the divisional council, the members? I mean, how are they taking the news that he wasn't actually kidnapped and that he was running for his life?
Well, I said yesterday, according to the police, 4 of them were the people who accompanied him to the police station. Initially, we heard that the BNI was taking him to the police station, but from what the police told me this morning, 4 of his chiefs came with him. So the paramountcy or the divisional council is so happy. But then the divisional commander for Takwa says that they would have to interrogate the Achiamehene and his driver, who had earlier come there to report a missing person to, and then they would also have to find out how on earth they got the information that Nana has been kidnapped when he himself is now saying that he went into hiding.
And let's talk about the one who's been accused of issuing death threats to the Jasehene. Does this rest the case for him?
No, Aisha. For the case of the threat, yesterday they were supposed to be in court. That's when the chief went missing. So DSP Olivier Rabnadiku said that the case of threat against the chief, that one holds. But in connection with the kidnapping, since the chief himself is saying that he was not kidnapped and he went into hiding, that one they can't hold it against him. But for the threat which he issued on Sunday, that one holds.
In Athalia Kwanzaa is a woman in the western region. We've got our eyes on this case and we're still bringing you updates on that one. Across borders, an intervention by the Ghana Boundary Commission has ended the land boundary dispute with neighboring Togo at Polmanko in the Pusigat district. A meeting held between the National Coordinator, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, and the President of the Togo Boundary Commission on Thursday agreed the 1926 demarcation using River Polmako as the boundary line should be respected, whilst the technical committees of the two commissions ensure installation of all missing boundary pillars. Similar talks took place in Paga with authorities from Burkina Faso to resolve some boundary disagreements there. Here's DCE of the Kasina Nankana West District, Gerald Atweje, on what caused the disagreement.
In Paga, you realize that we share a border with Burkina Faso, and both countries have these demarcation pillars erected far back 1970s thereabout. But now when you get to the area, the pillars have been encroached upon. And we cannot allow that to continue. But of course, it's better late than never. So the two countries, the international boundary commissions of both Burkina Faso and then that of Ghana, we decided to have a maiden meeting today to see how those things can be resolved, because we need to protect the pillars. Otherwise, once they've encroached, and then even some of them, when you get there, you realize that they are in people's plots, and more or less in their rooms, verandas, and what have you. So we think there's a need for us to secure these pillars and then to secure our borders, the borders of both countries, because now we know how things are in terms of terrorists and whatnot. So there is a need for us to really work hard to make sure that things work. And that is why we've had a maiden meeting between the two countries today. And of course, the meeting went on well, and subsequently we will have another one within the year, of course, so that we will see how things will go. I can assure you that the meeting has been fruitful, and the relation between the two countries is so cordial, and I know we will get somewhere.
We can now hear from Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia.
We have been fortunate to have the Director General of the Burkina Boundary Commission coming with his team for us to discuss and assess some of the few issues that are along our boundary. There were two major issues that we discussed. There's an issue in Sapelga where there are some few issues that affect the international boundary periods between us and Burkina Faso. And then in the Paga area where some of the boundary pillars have been encroached upon and engulfed by habitations. Both of us agreed that a joint technical team would meet in Sapelga for a day's assessment so far as the issue along the international boundary in Sapelga is concerned. And then the issue with the Paga, they will make an assessment also, and then at the next meeting we'll be able to come out with informed decisions that will help resolve the issue. The one major decision that both teams decided upon was that we're going to regularize the meeting between Ghana and Burkina Faso. In her speech, she mentioned that they've made a request years back, but we have promised that we are going to do. And as a result of that, we have decided that we are going to hold another meeting in Burkina Faso before the end of the year. So invariably, at least we'll have 2 meetings a year between Ghana and Burkina Faso to discuss issues of common interest.
As the Permanent Secretary of Burkina Faso National Boundary Commission, Zagri Liotain.
En République du Ghana pour rencontrer nos frères de la Commission nationale des frontières du Ghana en vue d'échanger sur nos préoccupations communes. En rappel, nous partageons une frontière qui a déjà été totalement bornée.
We have come to Paga to meet the Ghana Boundary Commission to discuss about some common issues concerning the border. We know that we have the common border with pillars, but that was done 30 years ago. So we know that there are some pillars that have been spoiled or deteriorated or removed. So, and we were also informed of the campaign made by the Ghana Boundary Commission to make a cartography and verify the presence of the pillars. That's why we came and we met. We have discussed about some issues. We acknowledge that some pillars have some problems. But this meeting will be the point of contact because we are going to put in place 2 technical committees that will be meeting to discuss common issues concerning our common border. And Burkina Faso side agreed to host a meeting before the end of 2021 in Ouagadougou to discuss about the problems raised here, the issue of Sapalga concerning the mining activities that affect the mining activities of Ejura that affect Sapalga, and also the issue of Paga border pillars.
Is live on the pulse. Still to come after this break. Catastrophic and unprecedented flooding swept through Western Europe on Thursday, leaving at least 80 people dead in Germany. We'll be going live to Berlin for more shortly. Welcome back to the Pulse, to the rest of our stories, and we begin with the situation in which the country is with COVID-19, because the World Health Organization has noted with concern consistent rise in COVID-19 cases in African countries. In a July 15 newsletter, the organization notes that public fatigue with key health measures and an increased spread of variants is accounting for the situation. Here in Ghana, the nation's active cases stand at 2,512. The Ghana Health Service this week stated that adherence to protocols remain a major challenge. Dr. Patrick Kumabuaje is Director General of the service.
We have more than 2,000 active cases, and we have an average case count of about 120 cases, mainly in Accra, Greater Accra, and Ashanti. Severe and critical care cases still, however, remain low, but it's not like, let's say, 4 weeks ago. We are having some increase, but still not high. Greater Accra and Ashanti regions are driving the outbreak in the country. Almost all the cases are in this. Once in a while, we have a few cases in Eastern and other places. We have report outbreaks. Mainly, this outbreak has been more of clusters. We have them in schools and workplaces. For the past 6 to 8 weeks, we've not had vaccination, and that's one of the situation. And as we are all aware, adherence to protocol is generally low, and this is a call that we need to be able to take that seriously.
The World Health Organization wants African countries to take urgent steps to stem the tide. It also hopes the USA, through the COVAX facility, can immediately make some vaccines available. Dr. Matshidiso Muweti is WHO Regional Director for Africa.
Africa's third wave continues its destructive pathway, pushing past yet another grim milestone as the continent's case count tops 6 million. Over the past month, Africa recorded an additional 1 million. Africa's third wave continues its destructive pathway, pushing past yet another grim milestone as the continent's case count tops 6 million. Over the past month, Africa recorded an additional 1 million cases. This is the shortest time it's taken so far to add 1 million cases. Comparatively, it took around 3 months to move from 4 million to 5 million cases. This COVID-19 resurgence is the fastest the continent has seen. New cases have increased for the 8th consecutive week, and 18 African countries are now in resurgence. The Delta variant, which is currently the most transmissible of all the variants, has been detected in 21 countries in Africa. There is a consistent upward trend in 12 countries with sharp increases in some, such as Algeria, Malawi, Senegal, and Zimbabwe. And although we're starting to see a decline in some countries, such as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Eritrea, Kenya, and Namibia, case numbers remain relatively high. As this surge sweeps across Africa, we're witnessing the brutal cost in lives lost. Deaths have climbed steeply for the past 5 weeks, jumping 40% in the past week. This is a clear warning. Our hospitals are at a breaking point. In all, 153,000 people have sadly died.
Our team on our health and vitality show visited the dump market to find out from some of the traders why they're refusing to wear masks. Listen to what they had to say.
As I work already, yes, I will be there. Adrian, my hip can blame us away, and no is so in Adrian. I do not say, Adrian, I am what they are, and no monsieur, no monsieur, I pipe the washing.
Ya mama me shebi no mama yare paint mama home ni mu aye confused kakra nti emergency bi ba dia mitimi de shama no na me yade bye e go slow kakra na my year free ma no
over market ya bebre she no smart okwakobo a oto na ade kwa na ka so pa so no smart won ya o fi an shokra obedi di watem
me de me problem na ne sanya se bia me pe no smart ne she na emo mu nte hye wa me so enti me sha na metie me a eni ntina me mpenishen ba obi beto ade nipa ne do so me so dia me yusu se won fi me so dia na me na mfe ma fa me e ka me nkwan ke nte ye papa asem na nka wotike mu anasa wo ba so because obetime show obi nim ye yare no so obi betime abo obetime rense go so
e pa cho COVID-19 real e wo ho so obi ka se ni ho oboa nti me anfe ni agro kura no smas na se de bia ye gusu hye.
Dr. John Amoesi leads the Global Health and Infectious Disease Research Group at KCCR and is also a lecturer at the Global Health Department of the School of Public Health at KNUST. He joins us via Zoom for more on this one. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. First of all, what's your view of how the Delta variant is spreading in Ghana?
For that, Aisha, and good afternoon to everyone who's listening. Normally afternoons are busy, but I agreed to come on this afternoon because I think it's really important that we highlight what is going on in Africa and in our country, Ghana. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, put it correctly that, cases are going up. And the truth also is that our intensive care units are also filling up. I think that needs to be highlighted. There's a way in which this disease works, and we've seen it over and over again, not only here in Ghana, but in other parts of Africa and all over the world, which is that it starts off really slowly, with an increase in number of people testing positive, and then moves on to an increase in number of people who are getting sick, and then moves on to a number of people, to more people getting hospitalized, and then finally it moves on to more people dying. So if what we know is anything to go by, it means that we haven't yet hit the most critical spot, which is almost bound to happen. It's also important to note that at the point when you're able to realize that there is increasing spread, it really means that it has seeded quite significantly within the population, because people will not get tested unless they have a cause or a reason to get tested, because they're feeling unwell or have treated some other disease like malaria and others and was not going away, and then decided to go for a COVID test. And so what we're seeing now is only a reflection of something that must have started about a month to 6 weeks ago. And with regard to the Delta variant, as Dr. Matshidiso Moeti put it, it's really a beast in the way in which it behaves. And if you look at the data, which is coming from other parts of Africa and all over the world, but let me focus on Africa, especially with regard to how this Delta variant spreads and the risk of getting it and risk of severe disease, it is alarming. People have been vaccinated and are still getting the COVID, albeit not falling sick. So if that's anything to go by, it should tell you that those who are not vaccinated are most likely getting it in much higher numbers and are also more likely to fall sick. And just within my own sphere, I can see very clearly how people who've come into contact with an infected person get the disease, and those who've been vaccinated just don't get the disease. We've had a few people who are vaccinated who have tested positive but are just fine. But what that means also is that they can go on and spread it to others who may not have been vaccinated, and they may not be as lucky as themselves. So we're in a situation where we don't have the vaccines right now. I'm just coming out of a high-level discussion which was looking at vaccine availability across Africa. And very clearly, the WHO headquarters made it very clear that there are challenges with the COVAX facility. And I know Ghana is trying hard on our own via bilateral agreements and other things to secure vaccines, but we don't have them yet, and they're definitely not coming next week, which means that we should expect that this is going to go high. My only hope is that it doesn't translate into a significant number of deaths. But again, as the Ghana Health Service Director General put it, yes, the number of severely ill people is not that high, but it has gone up very significantly, even from last week and especially last 2 weeks. And what that means is that we're getting closer to the point where it begins to translate into deaths. And this is what I am very concerned about. And the only thing that we can do right now is to really insist on the measures, the social distancing, the washing of hands, the wearing of the mask. I mean, just today, I had to speak to one of my managers in a facility and ask him to wear a mask because someone had called me to complain that he was not wearing a mask. And these are just what we're facing. Even healthcare workers are getting weary of doing the right things. So we have a real problem, and I'm happy that the media has decided to resurrect this issue and give it the attention it deserves, because it's really translating into a matter of life and death.
Dr. Amoesi, we seem to be gradually getting back to a worrying situation because the WHO says vaccination drive is slow. There's rapid spread of the Delta variant, termination of our contracts to get vaccines. What can we really do as a nation?
Well, that's what I pointed out. The only answer is in vaccinating as many people as quickly as possible. Now, that option is currently not on the table because we don't have the vaccines, so it's not an option. So the only thing we're left with is reducing contact as much as possible and putting in place all the other preventive measures like the washing of hands, wearing of masks. And so it sounds so hackneyed because we've been saying this over and over and over again, but unfortunately, this is all that we have left. There is nothing more we can do at this moment. Perhaps we need to take a second look at some of the legislation that has expired, which really compels us to do the right thing. Maybe this is the time to go back to the drawing board and look at it. If we had the vaccines, I'd have said, let's speed up, get those vaccines in, but we don't have them, so that's off the table. So really sorry to disappoint you, but nothing special to do apart from what we know already.
Is it time for restrictions?
Well, I mean, if I'm to speak as a public health person, yes, there is time. It is time for restrictions, but restrictions are implemented at different levels. There's personal level, and then there is more population level, which comes via public health law or legislation. It's always a combination of the two. The individual level kind of restrictions and the population level restrictions. I would call for a review of the population level restrictions by the authorities, take a really hard look at our figures right now, look at the modeling and what the projections are, and make some quick decisions within the next few days. Otherwise, we might see even more numbers. And what I said is I really don't want to see this translate into deaths. And unfortunately, when it begins to translate into death, then it's a bit too late. So this is really the time to take a second look at legislation and other population level restriction measures.
Dr. John Amweze, I'm grateful for your time. He's a public health expert with KCCR and a lecturer at KNUST. Ghana's immediate past deputy ambassador to China, Dr. Charles Dramina, has bid farewell to Chinese government officials and institutions with whom he had a close working relationship during his term of office. Having successfully completed his term of office, the doctor, as a diplomat is popularly known, embarked on a thank you and farewell tour to major cities and provinces in China to thank the Chinese officials and institutions for their support and also to bid them goodbye. He joins me via Zoom for a chat. Doc, congratulations for a good job, Dan. Kindly unmute for me, Doc.
Good evening from Beijing.
Doc, first, the people of China are happy with you because they say you've boosted the relationship or bilateral relationship between China and Ghana. How did you achieve this?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, greetings to cherished viewers. I must say that indeed the President, His Excellency President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, carefully chose the team he sent to Beijing.
Doc, you were talking about how you were able to achieve this great relationship between the two countries.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And I was saying that it's largely a collective effort. My boss, the ambassador, His Excellency Edward Watting, played a very key role as the leader of the team. He made sure he pointed us in the right direction. Every other person team played a key role. So together with our combined efforts, we've been able to move it from the level we took it over from and taking it to the level we currently have it. And so, yes, it's been a great teamwork together.
Doc, let's talk about COVID-19 because we know that's where it all started. Recently, we're seeing a rise in cases, especially in Africa, but the country where it started has seen significant progress over a period. What did you gather during your visits with regards to the COVID situation there?
Right. I think first and foremost, the people over here aren't complacent at all. That's not to say somebody is complacent or not, but I mean, my observation here is that even though they've been able to get a good hold of the situation here, they are not resting. They are not taking a break. They've even extended their border closures. And everywhere you go, you would have to prove that indeed, for the last 14 days, you've not been to any COVID-infected area, or you've not had any symptoms, and indeed you have a green code. And the green code basically is an app it's something on the phone that shows that indeed you are safe. You are not a carrier of the virus, or you are not sick yourself. So whether it's a train station, you're going, an airport, a restaurant, a hotel, you have to scan. And by scanning, you also leave a trace of wherever you've been so that authorities can follow. And if, say, you leave a certain area and there is an infection, they can easily trace you. So they've sort of digitized the contact tracing, and that's largely helped in keeping control of the whole situation here. Yeah.
What are the Chinese doing differently that we have to emulate in Africa and in Ghana? I'm talking about at the level of government and individual level.
I think on the governmental level, government of Ghana is doing exactly what has to be done. What we need to do collectively more is to be extra vigilant. We shouldn't think that, hey, we've been able to contain the situation so we can rest. They are not resting. They are not. So this is more of a societal responsibility. Government will enact the right laws and put in place the right measures. But if the society or the citizenry, the general population isn't ready to follow, it becomes a challenge. The advantage they have here is their firm grasp on implementation of laws and order here. And probably because of the system, it's an advantage to them. And they're able to implement to the core whatever decision the government takes. And so my word of advice would be that as citizens of Ghana in this trying situation, we should all try our very best to follow the laws, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. I mean, we need to go through a certain phase, and it takes collective effort. If somebody is doing it and you're not doing it, we wouldn't achieve that desired effort. So we all have to do it, and we'll all go through it and successfully. That's what they've been able to do in a unique manner, and that's what I think we can learn from, and then do in our situation, so we can also totally overcome it. Yeah.
I guess there's a lot we need to learn from China. So what next for you, Doc?
Well, yeah, I'm just wrapping up, and I'll be home to continue serving God and country. I remain available to serve, and as I've always been. So, yes, we'll continue our service to Ghana and mankind.
Congratulations on your achievements, and we wish you all the best as you return home, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you.
And from Beijing, we head to Berlin, where you may have heard that catastrophic and unprecedented flooding swept through Western Europe on Thursday, leaving at least 80 people dead in Germany. Let's go live to Berlin and speak with DW's Chelsea Dulani on the flooding situation in Western Germany. Chelsea, tell us more about the situation there today.
Well, what we've heard from officials is that the worst of the rain does seem to be over. So today, in parts of these areas that have been hit very hard, particularly in the northwest of Germany, a lot of this water is starting to abate. But that really is just giving us a clear idea of how extensive this devastation really is. Houses have collapsed, cars have just been swept away, railroads as well. Parts of them have been taken away by the floods. Right now, the authorities are estimating 80 people dead, but there are still thousands of people who are missing and that authorities are not able to get in contact with because cell phone networks have been downed by the flooding as well. Many people are likely not going to be returning to their homes in the coming days as well. There is an ongoing concern that some of the dams in Western Germany could break as well. That would obviously add more pain to what is already a very catastrophic situation here in Germany.
Chelsea, let's talk about recovery. Are recovery efforts ongoing?
They are, and I think you can say they're really just getting underway. It will take days, weeks to really assess the loss of life here and how really widespread and costly this damage is going to be. The German military has deployed about 850 soldiers. Many people still need to be rescued from their homes. Many places are still evacuated, but it will take a very, very long time to really understand how devastating this was. An infrastructure will need to be rebuilt. Many people will need to rebuild their homes. So that we haven't heard a full estimate of what the cost and timeline for this is, but it likely will be in the billions of euros. We've already heard from officials here, the finance minister, for example, as well as other politicians, that they are working already on getting some funding to people in areas that need it right now.
Now, German politicians have cited climate change as a factor here. What kind of role has that played?
So scientists are, of course, always a little bit wary about directly linking these extreme weather events to global warming. What they do say is that as the Earth warms, it becomes more likely that we will see extreme events like this because warmer weather holds more water. So that does lead to more heavy rainfalls like this. Politicians are already making this link, though. We heard from Armin Laschet, who is the state minister of one of the hardest hit areas here in Germany, as well as in the running to succeed Chancellor Merkel in the fall. He said, we will be faced with events over and over like this, and that means we need to speed up climate protection. So I think a lot of politicians here in Germany, as well as in Belgium, the Netherlands, which are also getting hit by this flooding, will use this as an opportunity to really stress the need for more climate change protection.
Chelsea Dulani is with DWTV with an update on the catastrophic and unprecedented flooding that swept through Western Europe on Thursday, leaving at least 80 people dead in Germany. We're still live on the Pulse, so when we return from the break, there is more of the analysis of all the developing stories. To stay tuned in. After 12 days of public sitting, the three-member committee tasked to investigate the Ejura disturbances has wrapped up its work. The committee set up following violence that led to the death of 2 and several injuries when soldiers clashed with the youth in Ejura who were protesting the gruesome murder of social media activist Ibrahim Mohammed, popularly known as Kaka Macho. Chairman of the committee, Justice George Kingsley Kumsin, has been speaking on the final day of its public sittings today.
We took 3 days to review the evidence obtained by way of audio and video evidence. So in all, we have spent 12 days of examining the evidence. In all, we called 22 witnesses, out of which 3 of them testified in camera for security reasons. 19 appeared in public. We have so far received audio evidence, only 1. Video footages tendered 117. Pictures in soft copy 555. Documentary evidence 8. Written statement 2. Then we have 2 physical evidence in the nature of spent cartridges. On behalf of the committee and on my own behalf, we would like to thank the media who have been our partners in this exercise. We are very grateful to you. Without you, this hearing wouldn't have reached the people out there. What is left for us to do is to go through the evidence received and write our report and recommendation to the Minister of Interior. We must say that we've enjoyed the company of the media. Those who are here, they know the relationship that we have established. And we know we can count on the media anytime. Carried out. We are grateful to you all, and Very soon, our report will be made public by the authority concerned.
Section of the public over claims it was set up to single out the media for blame in the disturbances. But the chair, Justice Kumsin, said the members will be open-minded in its report and recommendations to the Interior Minister.
We, as a committee, we are a fact-finding committee. And we've not come out to say that anyone's evidence is stupid or is irrelevant. No, so whoever would describe a piece of evidence as stupid or irrelevant, it is the person's own opinion.
It's in relation to what Erastus gave to the committee.
Erastus gave evidence, a lot of evidence, video, and apart from that, I think he appeared before us, testified, yes, oral testimony. And I don't think none of his evidence looks stupid.
As a follow-up to what he's saying, it looks like the testimony and the invitation of the appearance of media people has subjected them to public ridicule. How does the committee see this? Because initially that was the popular opinion, that the attack was coming all from
you see, the fact is that we are a fact-finding committee, and we do not just accept things. This is what I have for you, and we have to, inquire where we don't understand certain issues. And you see, one thing I have observed is that the media, the Ghanaian media, when people question some of your acts, it does not mean they want to embarrass you or ridicule you. No. If Kweku comes, he testifies, he's asked questions. If a media man comes, he testifies, he should be subjected to some form of questioning. That doesn't mean that you are being ridiculed. So whoever thinks that the committee tried to ridicule any media personality, I will assure them we
Generally,
had...
how do you rate the cooperation level of people?
You can judge for yourself the relationship between the committee and the media who came. Tell me.
We are looking at the cooperation of those who came to appear before the committee.
Witnesses.
None of the witnesses. You see, standing here, clearly when a witness is testifying and you see that he's not being frank, I will not say honest because I don't want to refer to anybody as being dishonest. You see, when the person is not being frank with the truth, we cannot say it in public that this man is being untruthful. We will ask one or two few questions to determine the veracity of your statement. But I believe every witness who came to us now was truthful. It is only when we sit down to examine and make our findings that we can determine this person was not telling the truth, that person was being economical with the truth.
Now you have finished with your work. What's your expectation as a committee in terms of acceptance and implementation of your recommendations?
As I stated earlier on, our duty is to find the facts, make recommendations. After our recommendations, what else? I continue with my life as usual. I have no personal expectation. I have come to do my work. Once it is done and I submit my report, I'm done.
Would you have any advice for the youth in particular who are mostly involved in rioting or demonstrations?
You see, as I said in the chief version, what the youth need is patience. You see, some will say that we want justice. Justice rushed, you understand. It's not the best. It doesn't result well. But although justice delayed, it is said is justice denied. But sometimes it is good you go through the processes. You understand? You go through the processes so that at the end everybody will be satisfied. But if you rush through justice, from some of the videos, some people were demanding justice within 1 week. You think, assuming it is a murder case, tell me,
Can a murder case be resolved within 1 week? Even the trial itself. You understand? So that's why I'm appealing to the youth. They should, most of the times, exercise restraint so as to get the justice that they require. But if you decide to rush things through and you take the law into your own hands, at the end, you don't achieve anything.
We can go live to Kumasi, where my colleague Ejura joins us with more, but also private legal practitioner Bobby Banson will also be joining this conversation. Let me start with you, Ejura. I need you to tell me about day 12 of the committee sitting. Can you hear me? Tell me more about day 12 of the committee sitting.
Thank you, Aisha. In all, 22 witnesses appeared before the committee and testified, and out of the 22, 19 provided public testimony, whilst 3 witnesses gave testimonies to the committee because we are told this as a result of security reasons. It is not clear who the 3 who gave these in-camera testimonies to the committee are, but we're told that a resident of Ejura was first to testify in camera, and the committee was also expecting the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator to appear before the committee. So journalists suspect among the 3 people could be the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator who testified before the committee in camera, Aisha.
I've been speaking to the chairman of the committee on Erastus's testimony especially. What did he say?
Well, the Erastus's testimony before the committee, don't forget his account of events in the Ejura has been brought under a litmus test. For instance, the chairman of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee, Kennedy Ohene Japan, did accuse Erastus of giving what he described as a stupid and irrelevant account to the committee. But the chairman of the committee, Justice Kumsin, told me in the presence of other journalists that with what Erastus gave the committee, it cannot be described as stupid or irrelevant evidence. But he says Erastus's account and the evidence that he supplied the committee has become one of the key and basic things for the committee. For instance, Erastus supplied the committee with visuals. So after his account and the visuals that he provided the committee has used those visuals to the extent that when one of the witnesses, Abi Wakas, appeared before the committee and told the committee just Friday that after burying the late Ibrahim Mohammed Kaka Mecho, he left the cemetery to pray at the mosque and then went straight to the house to sleep until he woke up at about 4 p.m. But it was based on Erastus's visuals that the committee was able to make an informed decision that indeed the witness was not making frank testimony or not presenting frank testimonies before the committee. So the committee chairman said that no, as far as they are concerned, Erastus has not provided the committee as in quote, stupid and irrelevant testimony before the committee.
Stay on there for me. Bobby Banson, I'm grateful that you're able to join us. He's a private legal practitioner. Let's start with your general impression of the work of the committee.
Your viewers and your listeners, thank you for having me. I think that from the beginning, the composition of the committee gave a lot of us some hope in terms of the quality of work that would be done. You would have a Court of Appeal judge, highly respected, and then somebody who is being touted as a security expert or international relations expert for that matter, and a fine lady who was also part of the committee, very experienced in her field of work. And as the committee began its work, some people were not happy with the line of questioning, but as they have come to say, they are supposed to probe. I do not think that the fact that they were asking questions in a particular manner suggests that they've already made up their mind. And so I still want to see the report, if indeed it will be made public, to be able to determine whether or not the work of the committee is fruitless or it has led to a resolution or giving us the true facts of what happened. Because their terms of reference principally is to investigate and interrogate the circumstances leading to that unfortunate incident on that day. So far, it's been, from my position, I would say it's been fair. They exercised their rights to ask questions. They were not judges. I think that is where a lot of people got it wrong. They were not judges that were deciding which story is true against which story. They were playing the fact of investigators. And so they had the right to play the devil's advocate in the line of questioning that they asked. And so we would want to see the conclusion that they reached from their investigations or questioning. And because the committee's work was done in the full glare of the public, all of us would have an opportunity to judge whether or not their conclusion can be juxtaposed with the facts that we all saw or the evidence that they received.
Let's look at the criticism they got from the public. Did it play any role in this whole thing for you?
Well, for me, I have come to expect it. We as Ghanaians or discerning minds, we are entitled to our opinions on anything. So it will create bias, the kind of question. People were not particularly happy because they thought that Erasmus had been received unfair questioning, which is a fair comment. I believe, like I said, it depends on how you appreciate the terms of reference of the committee. Well, to be frank, I thought maybe some of the questions could have been asked in a better form, but at the end of the day, they are there to probe. And so if you come and present that this is your evidence, their duty as a committee is just not to receive what you have brought to them. Their duty as a committee is to ask questions about what you have brought to them. And in asking questions, like lawyers say under cross-examination, it's a large. So you can start from any side, even to attack the credibility of the person who is presenting that evidence to you before you be able to get an opinion on it. And so the criticism that they have received from the public has come to be expected with any public inquiry in Ghana here. Even judges are criticized for rulings and questions they asked in court. And so this was nothing new for me. And I think that the committee members also may have handled it better in terms of how they handled the reaction. Some of the criticism were quite harsh, but I don't remember hearing them publicly react to any of them. They just continued with their work, and like they say, we will wait for the reports that they provide the minister.
Council, what are your expectations? What exactly do you want to see in this report as we anticipate in earnest for it to be presented to the Interior Minister?
I think that their terms of reference was clear. Tell Ghanaians why those unfortunate incidents happened, particularly what resulted in the death of the two persons who were shot and those who were injured during the demonstration. Tell Ghanaians whether or not the police or the military had the right to fire the shot that they did, whether they could have done it better. Recommend how these things could be avoided in the future. And so that is what I expect to be contained in the report. I think that they would dwell more, or what I'll be expecting more would be whether they would actually conclude that some people may have been negligent in their statutory obligations, whether the person who ordered the military and the policemen to go there could have exercised that discretion in a better way, whether the person who led the military and police contingent on the ground could have exercised the discretion in a better way not to order them to shoot. We saw people who were literally aiming at protesters. What are the punishments, or who are those people? Who sent them there? Those are the kind of things that I would be expecting in the report, not only for my sake, but for the sake of the family members of those that were, the lives that were lost and those that were injured, to bring some closure to this. And if any recommendation would be made for compensation to the families or the persons who have been injured, and then we will see all of that in the report. So I'm looking forward to a very thorough report devoid of any emotions or political biases. So because this is something that we would all expect that will be a blueprint for things that would happen in the future.
There are those who felt that the committee went ultra-vires of its terms of references, especially when it brought in the family of Kaka. Did you feel same?
I didn't know whether psychologically the family was ready to speak to the public so soon after experiencing such painful loss of their dear one. The committee's reference per se, I don't recall that it's got to do with investigating the death of Kaka, because that is a criminal matter. That would not be part of their, the terms of reference. That was under investigations. But because Kaka's death is inextricably linked to the events of that day, I didn't find it surprising that they opted to invite members of his family to come and speak to what they know about the events leading to the demonstration on that day, because you cannot speak about the demonstration without speaking about the root cause. And if the root cause is the unfortunate demise or murder of Kaka, then it is not surprising. I don't know whether it is right or wrong. I don't think I'm in the position to say, but I would say that I wasn't surprised they elected to invite members of the family of the late Kaka. Bear in mind that they do not have cohesive power as a committee, and so if the family members opted not to have come forward to speak, they could not have forced them to. But they also exercise their right to come forward to speak, and I think that it will make their report richer for the sake of all of us.
I'm extremely grateful for your time. Bobby Bansing is a lawyer, and he's been helping us understand the legal parameters which the committee has been working. My colleague Oheming Teria is still on with me. Oheming, what are we likely to see in the report that will be submitted to the Interior Minister? Did the chairman give you a hint?
The chairman did say that very soon the Interior Minister will receive the report from the committee, but he wouldn't give timelines. But I have been, nosing around, trying to get an idea of what this report may contain as they prepare to lay bare the committee's report before the Interior Minister. The committee is likely to recommend some sort of financial compensation for the family because the death of the two people and then injury to the 6 others, I'm told, probably came from state actors. So it's likely that the committee will recommend some form of compensation for the family, and also made recommendations as far as how to handle matters of this nature in the near future, taking into consideration the political atmosphere in Ejura, for instance. The issue of establishment of military detachment is likely to make its way into the committee's recommendation in order to curb such occurrences in the near future. So this will come up, it's likely to come up in the committee's report, though the committee members wouldn't want to give a hint of what could be in their report that they will submit to the Interior Minister. But listening to the comments from the committee members and listening through the presentations and testimonies delivered by all the witnesses, the 22 witnesses who appear before the committee, as a journalist and from the background that I'm coming from, it won't be far-fetched for me. That is how I see it, exactly, that the committee will make some recommendations to government to make financial compensation to the families affected, and also recommend as to how the military and the police team will act in manners of this nature, and also, call for the establishment of military base in Ejura, for instance, Aisha.
Oheming Teria has been on this beat for us. Congratulations, Oheming, for a good job done. And away from Kumasi, business magnate Sam Jonas says the only way to surmount the many problems the country is facing is to put together a government of national unity. This, according to him, is because the country is currently too divided along extreme partisan lines to be able to deal comprehensively with its teeming challenges ahead of the airing of our latest episode of Ghana's Great, which focuses on his life and achievements. On Monday, July 19, the distinguished Ghanaian has been explaining why he thinks an all-inclusive government is the best way out.
I think one has to recognize that we have made progress since 1992. That said, the challenges that we faced in 1992 pale into insignificance as compared to the challenges that we are facing as a country. But in terms of the environment itself, I think the environment is too toxic and partisan for my liking. I mean, literally everything is seen through the prism of politics. And that affects everything, every decision that is taken. But we are facing very severe, very serious challenges as a nation. I mean, you only have to look at the state of the economy. This country is being weighed down by debt. I mean, just to put it into perspective, 80% of our domestic revenue go to service debt. Just think about it. If your father, 80% of what he collects as salary goes to pay off part of his debt, what will be left for food? What will be left for hospitals, for the bills? What will be left for everything, schools and all of that? So there's not an awful lot that will be left for wages, meaningful wages for Ghanaian workers employed by government, for roads, for schools, for hospitals, for investments in water, and all of those things. So the challenge economically are very, very onerous. And how do you deal with these challenges? Look, take youth unemployment. Youth unemployment is now a national security matter. Helplessness and hopelessness leads to mischief. Because as they say, the devil finds mischief for idle hands. People walk through my office every day, young men and women, with qualifications that I never dreamt about. And yet they have no jobs. Let me make it clear. It is not the government's responsibility to create jobs. It is the government's responsibility to create the environment which will let you and I invest to create jobs. And
Arrive alive because the National Road Safety Authority says that it's seeing considerable improvement in road safety and reduction in road crashes in the northern region. The Northern Regional Director of the authority, Alexander Ayata, says the support they are receiving from the overlord of Dagbon, Yana, and the JoyNews Drive Safe campaign is doing the trick for them. The gains the authority is making in the region shows in how fewer people are dying now through crashes from motorbikes, which happen to be their main mode of transport, while 20 lives have been lost through motorcycle-related accidents in the region from January to June this year. In the Greater Accra and the eastern regions, 102 and from 105 have been killed respectively.
We are measured by the data or figures that we have been able to gather. And that is to say that when it is increasing, I would not say we are doing much. But as long as Northern region is concerned, the figures of injury and death is coming down. I'm looking at the two first quarters of 2020 and 2021. And looking at that, of course, it gives me the hope and trust that, of course, our job is getting down to the people. And the fact that, of course, the year 2020, 22 people were killed on the road. That is from January to March. This year, same period, we have only 12. And believe you me, out of these 12, 8 were motor riders. Meaning only 4 would have been what? Either vehicle or what have you. But 8 of them died as a result of motor crash. About 33 motors were involved and 12 got injured and 8 died. So it tells me that, of course, a good job is done as compared to the previous year. Then, of course, we also must believe that unlike of course, I will say 2020 was even an election year. And normally election years are years where we record high numbers of crashes.
Thank you very much for staying here with us, and welcome to this big conversation. A big conversation with a name that resonates with many because of the achievements he made several years ago. Back on June 4, 1994, he stunned the whole world by staging a very big knockout at the time against a champion who was seen as very deadly in the ring. Well, years on, he has an interesting story to tell regarding his exploits outside of the ring and how life has been for him when it comes to life after boxing and life in retirement. Ike Bazooka Quartey, the man whose right jab was rated by the Ring magazine as one of the deadliest in the sport, is my guest for this big conversation. Champ, good to see you, man.
Thank you, bro.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I think I'm very fine.
Okay.
Very well.
Okay, yeah. And I see you are still very, very fixated on your jewelry and like jewelry.
You know me. You know me.
Yeah.
You know Ike Quartey. The way I do it, that's me.
Yeah. Tell me about the gold teeth. You know, when did you do the gold studded teeth?
I made this before Oscar's fight.
Okay.
Before Oscar's fight, it was 1988. I wrote my name on it, Ike.
Ike, yeah, I can see that. I see. Yeah. So I see you're very fixated on, you know, the jewelry.
Yeah, I'm mentally fit, man.
Yeah. How has today been? You went to the mosque? Yeah.
No, I'm Muslim by birth, but I didn't go to the mosque. That's why I dress Fridays.
Oh, okay. You dress on Fridays.
I was Muslim by birth, so you know, I dress this Fridays.
But you don't read the Quran. You don't.
No, I used to. I've been to Muslim school before.
Oh, I see.
Ages, yeah.
When you were a little boy?
Yeah. My father was Muslim by birth, yeah.
I see. So at which point did you switch, you know, from Islam?
It's a long story. It's
a long story.
When I was young, you know.
I see. I see. Interesting. But you also read the Bible sometimes?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah. Because I remember years ago I was here and you were having Bible study.
Yeah, I used to read Bible study.
I see. Now let's talk about you know, everybody is very interested in this thing. For a legend like you, just before you go into battle, what do you normally do? Do you pray? What do you do? Or you just walk into, you know?
To the ring?
Yeah.
To the ring, when I'm going to mentally fit, mentally, emotionally, physically fit before going to the ring.
Yeah.
And you ask the Lord for you to let go, walk in and walk back. That's all.
I see.
Or what to do, you have to be ready in the ring. And asking God, you know, I'm going there, you know, let me come back with my legs.
Yeah.
No, that's all. Some people go there and come with stretcher.
It's true.
Yeah, so we are going there, just ask the Lord, and I'm going there, you know, to do this job. So let me walk back with the money.
Yeah. Let's also talk about family. I mean, you've been focusing on family a lot, especially in your retirement. So how's family doing? How are the boys?
Everybody's big, man. They're all big boys now.
Yeah.
They're all big. One just married last year. The other one.
I see. So now, very soon, you are going to be a grandfather?
I have grandchildren.
You already have grandchildren? Okay, wow. Any of them wants to follow in the
No. They all finished. They have school.
They are focusing on different things?
They just finished this. The last one just finished his national service.
National service. Oh, okay. I see. So nobody wants to follow in Grandpa's footsteps?
They have to be in the school now.
They have to do...
Yeah. That's why maybe if your father is strong, if your father is a boxer, I can be a good boxer. No. Because I come from, from Bukom.
Yeah.
I was born and raised at Bukom, you know, that ghetto there. And that's why I was able to, you know, tough. But they are not tough. They are tough in the book. They're not tough physically.
They always say that when children are brought up in a very comfortable environment, like the kind of environment you created for them, comfortable home, you know, swimming pool here, the gym is here, so many dogs, you know, to take care of and all of that. They don't have the toughness to be in the ring.
You have to be a radical.
To be in boxing?
To be a good boxer, to be a hard, tougher boxer. You have to be a radical. You have to be a straight forward.
Yeah. You have to pass through
some things, you know, when you are
experiences.
Yes. Sometimes, Charlie, you can take some punch and Charlie, the way you feel it. I'm still laughing.
Yes, that reminds me, champ. You know, I've met a lot of my friends who say, your friend Ike Quartey, I mean, one of the things I liked about him was the fact that anytime you punched him and it got him, then he'll laugh. So anytime Ike Quartey laughs in the ring,
start smiling.
You start smiling. How did you develop that? Tell me about
I just want to tell Oprah that what he did to me is not, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. But it's still painful.
I'll give back. Harder than what I took.
Yeah. Because I remember, back in the time, anytime a punch touches you, then you smile. Instead of...
You touch me harder. I feel it, that this punch is a big punch and it's a hard punch to start smiling like, it's nothing. But brother, it's not Charlie.
There are times, but there have been times when you've gone after a fight and you had body pains and stuff.
You were in New York when I fought, you were in New York when I fought the...
Venom Forest.
You saw everything what happened.
Yeah. It was a very controversial decision, I remember.
No, I won that fight, All my only Vargas was my loss. I understand that I've lost this fight. But the La Hoya, Vodka,
so Vargas is the only boxer you thought you genuinely lost to?
That fight. Because I think we didn't prepare well.
You didn't prepare well?
It's not enough.
Why? Normally?
Because we went to the camp late.
Oh, I see. Were you informed about the fight late? Did you sign?
No, before the fight, you used to have to sign everything for giving you your trainer allowance to go to the camp.
Yeah.
But I went to the camp late. And later to the sparring partners they brought, we lost the fight. We lost it.
So you lost to Vargas. That was genuine. But the rest of them...
No, I've lost it.
What about Winky Wright? Because Winky Wright was...
It's my friend. It's my boy.
Yeah.
We used to stay in France together.
I know. He's your childhood boy, friend.
So that middleweight, he just called me. I know you middleweight. Come, let's go fight, make money. So
it was a multi-million-dollar fight.
When I got to the Tampa, Florida,
Bay, yeah.
At the airport, and he gave me his car to drive. And the media was you come to fight this guy, you're using his car, he's my friend. We come to make money. I'm not middleweight Posca. I was my friend, we come to make money. So we don't kill each other. I don't care if his mother is a referee, his father is a judge. We come to fight in his bedroom. I don't care. I come to fight and make money.
I see.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, so yeah, because I remember very well.
So that fight is a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
I'm not a middleweight boxer.
And it was an exhibition. There were big stars as well.
It was an exhibition, but it was a decision,
And you were fine with it?
Tomorrow we are fine about that.
I see.
Yeah, bro.
That thing about boxers and becoming very close friends outside the ring and having to fight each other. How does that work? I've never understood that.
I've never got a boxer friend apart from late Africa. The Whiskies. We were with the Whiskies.
Yeah.
I've never had a boxer friend apart from Africa.
I see. You grew up together in the area?
We grew up together. We participated in African games together. Common games together. African games Nairobi. Common games. It was boycott. Both of South Africa apartheid. That was 1986, right? 1986.
Yeah, sure.
And we all participated in Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea.
I see.
Tempo the same day.
His passing must have hit you
a lot. We became champion the same year.
Yeah, a few months away from each other. Yeah, I remember very well. Yeah. Sad, may his soul rest in peace. If you just joined us, this is a conversation with the legendary Ike Bazooka Quartey, a recipient of the Grand Medal of the Republic of Ghana. At the last, major state awards, Ike Quartey received a Grand Medal from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, for his contributions to the national image and his contributions to the sport of boxing and his major achievements as well. I made mention of your favorite pastimes. Now, I remember that at a point you had about, 18, 19 dogs at home?
I love dogs,
Yeah. You still keep that big number of dogs?
No,
pets?
No. I had dogs, but not like before.
Not back then. Okay. And you had names for each and every one?
Oh, they all know me.
They all know you?
They are pets.
I see.
Yeah.
What do you normally do when you wake up? And I remember my first time when I stepped there and they smelt me, and all of them just started barking very hard.
They don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't know you.
So at the time, what did you used to do? At what time did you used to release them into the compound and all?
No, out day and night.
Okay. Oh, there are those who used to come out?
Out day.
Tell me about that.
Out day, the one who come out day. And night, I lock them and bring night once out.
I see. So how many of them do you have now?
7, 8.
8 of them? Interesting.
Yeah, I have 5 I have 2 Rottweilers, 2.
2 Rottweilers?
And 4 pudding.
I see, poodles as well. I see. Interesting stuff. How's your wife doing?
Oh, she's fine. She's doing well, very well.
I see. I couldn't attend your wedding.
Yeah, you were in South Africa, right?
Yeah. Interesting stuff there. And you've been busy with your hospital project. It's taken a while for it to come up. How is the situation?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm doing now. I'm looking for investor, you know.
Okay.
I've been to Dubai twice. I want an investor. Where we have reached now, we need an investor. We have to finish this thing. This thing have to complete. The government there, I'm not putting my hand on government because I've tried NDC, tried MPP, nothing is going. Nothing. Because nothing.
What kind of support were you looking for from government?
No, partnership.
You wanted to have a partnership?
You know, they should come complete and then operate it.
Okay.
Because from Kaswa to Kolebu, no hospital. You know, from Kaswa to Tetsev, no hospital. So if the government is able to complete,
you mean no major, like a big hospital?
We have a lot of clinics.
Yeah.
You know, and no hospital from Kaswa, there's no hospital. Mention one hospital, one Feni hospital.
Yeah, there's Feni on the side. It's a big, yeah.
So, since the first government, NDC, nothing, MPP, decided to find an investor. So that's what I'm looking for.
I remember that at a point as well, you had brought a lot of equipment and you wanted to get them out of the port.
Yeah, I paid
what
duty.
happened?
I paid duty. Yeah.
Okay.
I paid duty. Go first time. I paid duty. Yeah.
You couldn't get any tax rebates.
Nothing at all because initially I brought equipment.
Okay.
And I paid duty for I went to saw Safmanfo. He was the finance minister. And that was what I'm bringing to help the nation. Say, there's nothing they can do. We can't want them paid. I went to China to buy the building equipment to complete it.
Okay.
28 containers.
I see.
Yes. Let me show you the receipts. Can I show you the receipt now?
Yeah, we'll take
my office is there.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Yeah.
And I pay and clear it. They are there. Things are there now. Yeah.
So, you've had conversations, and how are the conversations going? Is it going well?
About the hospital?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah, we're on it.
So if you should project, how long would it take you to complete it so that you can start operating from the way your conversations have gone with your partners?
Now, unless we get an investor,
yeah,
you know, who's coming to invest, complete it and operate it. There we can tell you we can finish today, tomorrow, next week, one next year or something.
I see.
Now we haven't got somebody. I can't tell you tomorrow or next week or.
How are your other businesses? You have a lot of real estate.
Yeah, I have hotels. I'm fine.
Let's talk about general health. I mean, people always say that boxers, sometimes when they go in the ring, they fight for so long, the punches hit them all the time. Sometimes they footballers sometimes also get injuries and they get hurt. Since you retired, have you had any health condition of any sort, or you know?
I was 31 when I retired. Your wife was saying, "Oh no, we are too young." I said, "No, it's okay. I'm fine."
And then you came back and did your comeback?
No, just to prove to the world that I can do it again. And I want to do it again with Oscar Lawyer, you know?
Yeah.
But the weight, you can't do it. It's too big. We want to go to China somewhere, we do an exhibition there. Like, you can't do the weight. You want to go for heavyweight somewhere.
Oh, he wanted you to fight for heavyweight?
We chat for something else.
I see.
It's too big now.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's fat.
Yeah. And so which weight would you have preferred to have that fight with Oscar?
If it's coming, we do it.
At middleweight? That's what you are comfortable with? Okay. So if Oscar should call you now and say, look, champ, I think I can make the middleweight, you'll be ready to go?
Let's talk about money.
Money? How much would you want to be paid for a big exhibition like that?
No, it's not. It's exhibition.
Yeah.
So you have to sit and talk. People will come in, you know, get sponsors to come in. Now I'm a big guy in the boxing, so I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you have to sit and talk. How much you going to give me? No. But it's not coming on, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on today. So just continue.
Yeah, I was coming to that, champ. So I saw a picture of you wearing your basketball jersey. You were wearing this ring. You had clenched your fists. You're taking a shot, your hair, you know, and people started talking about it. There are a lot of negative comments, you know, some suggesting that you were on drugs and, you know, some also suggesting that you don't have money anymore and all of that. Yes, you know. and I'm sure some of it caught your attention. First of all, let's talk about this look. Many people know Ike Quartey as the man who always has a clean shave, you know, no hair on his face and all of that. Why did you decide to grow hair on your face?
And I decided after like clean shave, I decided to be a Rasta. Okay. You know, I was a Rasta for 7 years.
Yeah, yeah. I
cut
remember.
it off, go out, do it again for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I decided to keep myself.
Okay.
Are you telling me if somebody has kept his hair like this, he used drug? Have I lost my mind? Or have I lost all opportunities are there. If I decide to keep my hair on beard, that's not. If leave your hair, that's mean you're a drug dealer or use drug. No, it's wrong. That's the formation of character. That person has to face the law. The one who brought this issue out have to face the law because you can't do that. You don't do that. That's what you all name I made all these years. I waste my life time to be this name, trying to do tarnish it. No. I want to say.
And on that bazooka note, that's how we part company on The Pulse this afternoon. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more of the developing stories. My name is Ejura Ibrahim. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2 hours stay with you. Enjoy the rest of our program.